Hylestad Stave Church was a church located in Hylestad, now in Valle municipality in Setesdal, Norway. The church is thought to have been built in the late 12th to early 13th century and was demolished in the 17th century. Some of the intricate wood carvings from the church were saved and incorporated into other buildings. They are now on display at the Museum of Cultural History in Oslo. 7 scenes from the Sigurd legend are carved on the 2 door panels, with 3 scenes on the first panel and 4 on the second. Based on the clothing and equipment, the panels have been dated to the second half of the 12th century. The figures and medallions on Hylestad 1 and the vine tendril on Hylestad 2 show close parallels to English and French manuscript illustrations from around 1170. The first scene shows Sigurd wearing a helmet and Regin with a beard at the forge, and the second scene shows Sigurd holding the repaired sword. Sigurd, described as one of the finest swordsmen, was urged by Regin to seek out the treasure of the serpent or dragon Fafnir. Regin then forged the sword with Sigurd at his side, who helped by keeping the fire going and fetching water to cool the blade when needed. When the sword was finished, they named it Gram. Sigurd tested the sword by striking it against Regin's shield, which had an image of Fafnir engraved on it. The blade broke, prompting Regin to forge a new sword from the broken pieces of the first Gram. When it was finished, Sigurd tested the blade once more on the shield bearing Fafnir's image, and this time it cut through the shield and even severed the horn on the anvil. In the third scene, Sigurd slays the dragon with a sword. After forging the sword, Sigurd and Regin set off for Nita Heath to find the dragon Fafnir and claim his treasure. There, they dig a pit in the path that Fafnir usually takes, and he crawls into it. When Fafnir reaches the waterhole, Sigurd stepped forward and thrust his sword into Fafnir, killing him. The fourth scene, depicted on the second door panel, shows Sigurd frying the dragon's heart and sucking his thumb, whilst Regin appears to be asleep. After slaying Fafnir, Regin asks Sigurd to take the dragon's heart and roast it for him, before he drinks his brother's blood and lies down to sleep. Sigurd then touches the heart to see if it was ready, but it burned his hand, and he sucked his finger to cool it down. When he accidentally drank the dragon's blood, he was suddenly able to understand the language of birds. From the birds, depicted in the fifth scene, he learnt of Regin's plan to kill Sigurd to avenge his brother. In the next scene, Sigurd slays Regin with his sword. Sigurd, having been both warned by the birds of Regin's plans to betray him, and encouraged by their assurances that great wealth, knowledge, and power would be his, if he killed Regin, as a precaution, and took possession of Fafnir's treasure, slays Regin. Sigurd, convinced by their advice, says, "It shall not be my fate that Regin be my death. Rather, both brothers should go the same way." Sigurd beheads Regin with the sword Gram. In the fifth scene, Sigurd's horse Grani stands with a chest containing Fafnir's enormous treasure, and beneath Grani are depicted 2 birds perched in the tree's branches. The birds likely belong to the group whose language Sigurd understood. This scene brings together elements of the legend that took place both before and after the slaying of Regin. After killing Regin, Sigurd mounts Grani and rides to Fafnir's lair, where he finds his treasure chamber and takes the treasure with him, including the helmet of terror and the sword Roti. Sigurd loads large chests containing the treasure onto Grani, even though he expects the load to be too heavy even for a pair of horses. Grani carries the treasure without difficulty and even refuses to move until Sigurd mounts his back and gallops as if he were unburdened. The final panel shows Sigurd's brother-in-law Gunnar in a pit of snakes, where he plays the harp with his feet in an attempt to calm the snakes. With his dying breath, Fafnir warns Sigurd that his gold is cursed and will be the death of all who possess it. Sigurd is not deterred by this and points out that all men are mortal. After Sigurd's death, caused by his three brothers-in-law, Gunnar, Hogni, and Guttorm, Fafnir's treasure is hidden by Gunnar and sunk to the bottom of the Rhine. Gudrun remarries Atli, who is fascinated by the treasure and wishes to seize it. Gunnar refuses to reveal its location to Atli and insists, better that the Rhine rule over the gold than that the Huns carry it on their arms. Atli orders that Gunnar be placed in a pit of snakes with his hands bound behind his back. Gudrun sends a harp to her brother, and Gunnar can play so incredibly well with his toes that he lulls the snakes to sleep, except for one large and hideous viper, which kills Gunnar with a single bite. A different visual way of telling the tale of Sigurd is found carved into rock at Ramsundsberget in Sweden. Here, the depiction does not show the creating of the sword, but at point 5 we can see Sigurd stabbing the dragon.